element of the upper ocean, which is called the superconscious. So these are the words that he has coined. But philosophically, these two mean what the Vedas are trying to tell us about the two oceans. So the lower ocean in Vedic terminology, Sri Aurobindo philosophically has called it inconscient. Inconscient. Upper conscient. Now, philosophically, psychologically, and spiritually, these are very significant concepts. Superconscious. So first of all, I should like briefly to tell you the meaning of these. What is meant by the lower ocean and what is meant by the upper ocean. Let us first of all get at the meaning. Now, concentrating on the idea of the lower ocean. Oh, by the way, before I proceed, I should also, want you to think of this very natural symbolism which we have, which we will find reflected in all mythologies, namely, so often you will find in poetry, in mythology, there is reference to the infinite, greeting the infinite above, greeting the infinite below. You see, there is the limitless ocean below, and there is the boundless blue above. These are two infinites. The limitless and fathomless ocean of waters below, and the boundless blue, the boundless ocean above, one greeting the other. You see, you will find in many much of poetic expression, this analogy has been used. So it is kind of same thing. You see, the boundless blue above, you see, is as it were looking, toward the ocean below. And the ocean below is as it were heaving up toward the limitless ocean, sky above. Infinite greeting the infinite. So that's a very beautiful imagery here. Now what is the lower ocean? What is its philosophical meaning? In Greek philosophy, it has been stated that at the very beginning of all creation, there was on all sides chaos, the ocean of chaos. And then the spirit was moving upon the face of the waters of the ocean. And it was the spirit, in Greek philosophy, that was called nous, N-O-U-S, nous. Nous, the spirit of intelligence. It is moving upon the face of the waters, upon chaos, turning it into cosmos in which we live today. That is the image which is given there. Now, you see a remarkable similarity in the whole approach when in the same context you turn to Indian mythology. There also it is stated that at the very beginning there was the ocean, the vast, endless ocean. And at the center of the ocean was reclining in supreme repose the great principle of intelligence, the great God, Vishnu. The same image, you see, Vishnu. So ocean is used here. Chaos, ocean of the chaos, nous, the power of intelligence moving upon the face of it. And here in Indian mythology you have ocean, vast ocean, which is also a very significant expression. This vast ocean is called Karano Solido, the causal ocean it is called. Let me say it again. Karano meaning causal, solido means water. Karano Solido. So it is said at the beginning was this vast ocean, which is Karano Solido, the causal. Meaning thereby, this is the ultimate cause, this is the ultimate matrix of all existence. Everything came out of the depth of this ocean. So this is Karano. Karano means cause. And then at the center of this ocean was reposing the great god Vishnu, which is the god of wisdom and love, intelligence. Vishnu. So Vishnu corresponds to Nous of Greek philosophy. US Nous. And Karano Solido corresponds to the chaos of Greek philosophy. So this thing now, this is the lower ocean we are considering. This can be interpreted cosmologically, and it can be interpreted psychologically. And both of these will be true. We can look at this matter now and understand it from both these standpoints, cosmological and psychological. Cosmologically, it is the matrix of all existence, the universe in its simplest form of expression at the very beginning, when it was in a state of undifferentiated oneness. Matrix means the mother, undifferentiated oneness, out of the womb of which different things began to evolve and develop. Cosmology. Now we can even understand it scientifically, from the standpoint of modern science, because they will tell you the same thing. In modern scientific cosmology, scientific philosophy, you come across the same kind of idea. Because they will tell you that at the beginning, when the world was in its simplest form of expression, when highly differentiated objects did not yet evolve, what was there? There was the undifferentiated space-time continuum. That would be the modern scientific terminology. Space-time continuum as an all-comprehensive system of motion, which was the very beginning of evolution. And the space-time continuum is certainly infinite, is boundless. You would be further interested to know, you see, the latest idea in this cosmological picture in modern science. Modern scientists will tell you that the space-time continuum, the whole of space, embracing the whole visible world that we see, is a constantly expanding continuum. It is constantly expanding. So you hear about the expanding universe in modern science. The expanding universe. That's a very interesting idea. You see, this universe or the space-time continuum in which we live is not in the least static. It is not closed. First of all, of course, we have got this idea that it is carved. It is global. The space is global, carved. It is not flat, as we formerly thought it to be, not flat. Carved. But a further addition to this curvature of space is that it is expanding. Eddington, in his book Expanding Universe, tries to explain this point by giving a simple analogy of a balloon. So you consider a balloon, a big balloon, representing our global space, rubber balloon, and then imagine that this balloon is getting more and more inflated. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, inflated. And that's the analogy. Similarly, the whole space continuum, space, which is like a balloon, is expanding. This may sound kind of fictitious, fascinating and fictitious, but that's how they think of it. It is expanding. When they find in astronomy that how the different galaxies are, tearing apart from each other, moving away, from each other, at a terrific speed. So what do you make of that? They are moving away from each other, you see. Things which are within the gravitational field of one planet, our planet, are of course attracted. You see. They are attracted. But as you might have seen from the paper reports of some of the space flights, when you go outside, out of the gravitational field of a planet, then instead of coming toward, you go away. You are repelled. That's an interesting fact about it. That the different galaxies, which are not within the gravitational field of each other, don't like each other, yes, as it were. They are running away from each other. They are running away, which is an opposite force from attraction, gravitational attraction. Now science says that this fact of running away is nothing but this fact that the whole of space is expanding, more and more expanding. Not that they are running away, but this is the thing that it is expanding, the whole thing is expanding. So you have anyway, the idea then is that this is the nature of the matrix in which our world exists. It is the ocean of space-time continuum, surrounding us, encompassing us, within the medium of which everything is taking place, evolving, growing, developing. You see, everything is taking place. So that is the cosmological meaning of this lower ocean, the beginning of all creation and development and evolution. Psychologically speaking, the lower ocean means what Dr. C.G. Jung, the father of modern analytical psychology, has called the collective unconscious. So in understanding this, I can give you another analogy and picture. This also is a very fascinating thing and psychologically very significant. You see, we are acquainted in our daily activities and consciousness, our thinking, we are acquainted with our rational mind. I have a rational mind with which I operate, you have a rational mind, everybody has this power of thinking, feeling, willing, a conscious rational mind. But what we don't often know much of, and don't think much of, is the fact that this rational mind of ours, you see, is only a fragment of our total psychical existence. A tiny little fragment. It is like an iceberg submerged in an ocean. So that's the analogy which psychology uses. That our mind is like like an iceberg submerged in an ocean. And that ocean is the collective unconscious. So we may say now that every one of us is as it were a little island jutting out from the depth of an ocean which connects all of us together. We are living, moving, having our being all the time in that ocean of the psychological unconscious. But that is what connects all of us together. But we feel all of us separate from each other because we see only the islands. I am an island, you are an island. You see, only the islands are visible. The vast ocean in which we are all the time submerged, we don't see that. That is not visible. But that's the fact. That is the collective unconscious. That is why we find that when different individuals, somehow or other, go deeply into their unconscious, into their own psychical existence, they discover a stratum which binds all people together, by discovering which they discover a point of unity and continuity of the whole human race. And that is why we find that the most creative geniuses are those geniuses, artist genius, or philosophic genius, poetic or painter genius, or whatever it is, has the universal appeal to all mankind because he talks a language which is universal, which is universally intelligible. And he can talk that universal language by virtue of his discovery of some some common facts of human life in the ocean of the unconscious. See? So as C.G. Jung says, a great artist is he who can speak with 1,000 tongues. You see? He can speak with 1,000 tongues. And people all over the world can understand him because of this fact. This is what Jung has called archetypal images in our human unconscious. Archetypal images. So the greatest art, for example, is that in which these archetypal images are expressed. So people all over the world appreciate it. These archetypal images, therefore, have a significance which is not limited by the limited cultural conditions of the different countries and different places. Anyway, so this is the psychological meaning of the lower ocean, the collective unconscious. So that is the beginning side. That is from where the world has come into existence, and that is from where our individual mental lives have emerged into being. Then also we come across another meaning of the ocean, the upper ocean. Coming out of the lower ocean, everything seems to be moving toward the higher ocean, the upper ocean. This is what Aurobindo has called the superconscious. The superconscious or the upper ocean is that realm of existence, that realm of being, which can also be defined as the realm of infinite light and joy and beauty and bliss. It is that realm of beatitude to which all great religious geniuses the world over testify. It is this realm of infinite light that is also the goal of mystical experience, the mystical striving. Mystics testify to that. So in the Vedas, in Vedic language, that is called Chidakasha. Chidakasha. The vast ocean or heaven or realm of consciousness. So you may call it cosmic consciousness. The ocean of luminous cosmic consciousness. It is called Chidakasha. Akasha, meaning Akasha, literally means sky, but as some translate is also regarded as the ocean, the infinite, expanse, and Chida means consciousness. So the vast realm of cosmic consciousness, that is Chidakasha. So with this understanding you will now know what is the meaning of the statement that life flows between two oceans. It evolves out of the lower ocean, the space-time continuum, or the collective unconscious, in whatever way you view it. That is how it evolves, and it is growing, developing, striving forward towards the realization of the upper ocean, that is cosmic consciousness. Or as we say, toward union with the infinite God, that is cosmic consciousness. So that is the goal of all our religious, spiritual, mystical, philosophical effort. Now I am going to tell you about some experiences of this upper ocean, so that you can form a more concrete idea about it, and so that you can also see the significance of this upper ocean, in our development, in our spiritual development. First of all, let me tell you about the experience of a great saint when he was only 7 years old. That was his first experience about God, first experience about what we call samadhi, He was just sitting alone, in a field, relaxing. That was Ramakrishna. Many of you may have read about this experience of his in his biography. He was just sitting, and suddenly, at a distance, he seemed to see an ocean. All this took place very rapidly. And then pretty soon he saw that ocean, as it was rushing toward him, with all its vast immensity and its roaring billows. The ocean was coming forward. As it was coming forward, the trees and the different houses were swallowed up, submerged in that ocean. And then pretty soon he felt that he was now going to enter into that ocean. And the next moment, that's what happened. The waves of the ocean came upon him, and he was, as it were, submerged. Next, what happened, he did not remember. He was right in the heart of that ocean, and was there for some time. That is what we call the kind of samadhi experience. Later on, when again he regained his consciousness, he remembered that was a very unique, unprecedented, wonderful experience. That was his first contact with what may be called the upper ocean. And then what happened as a result of this? This experience brought about a permanent change in his life. As he came out of that experience, he was never again the same person that he was before. It worked a permanent transformation of his whole outlook. And then not only that, this experience gave him a sense of direction, told him what his goal of life was, what his destiny was. So these are the points to take note of here. That when a person has, now in whatever way we explain this particular experience, some psychologists would say, well, it was his direct contact with the depth of the unconscious. The unconscious, they use the word unconscious. But we, make a distinction between two levels of the unconscious. One is the subconscious, another is the superconscious. We make a distinction. But many psychologists don't make that distinction. They may just use the word unconscious. And they would say that this was his contact with the depth of the unconscious, the ocean of the unconscious. And such an experience, such a contact with the depth of the unconscious, has tremendous value for our inner unfoldment, because it is a direct contact with the very ground of our existence, ultimate basis of our existence. From one standpoint, it is regenerative. When a person has this experience, he as it were undergoes a regeneration, revitalization. Formerly he happened to be weak, he happened to be depressed, he happened to be, full of diffidence and so on and so forth. All these are, as it were, in the twinkling of an eye, washed away. And a person is reborn, revitalized, rejuvenated. So that is one effect. Another effect of it is that it gives you a definite sense of direction. You know now where you are going, what is your destiny, what your ultimate goal is, what is the purpose of your life, or what the divine purpose in your life is. You know. I have told you just to give an idea of in the lives of many great prophets, mystics, artists, and philosophers or sages, you will come across similar experience in some form or other. So this gives an idea of what this means, the ocean. Let me give another incident, tell you the story of another great person, and that is Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore, the great mystic poet, has also written about his personal experience of this nature in his biography. He was at that time 12 years old, and he saw a kind of he had a similar experience of the ocean. He was standing at that time on the roof of their house, on the roof of their second-story building, and just looking around. So there was no water there, you see. But then he had the experience of the ocean. See. One day, as he was, according to his usual habit, was just spending time solitarily alone on the roof of their house. Suddenly, he has an experience of the ocean. All around, suddenly he felt the vast, endless ocean. And then he saw, suddenly, in front of him, at a distance, he saw a beautiful boat, a golden boat. He has written poems about this. Shonaturi, that is a very famous poem. He saw a golden boat, and a very strange, mysterious boatman was there. As he looked closer, he saw that boatman was trying to tell him something. He was trying, with some signs, he was trying to communicate something to him. So at first he did not understand what he was trying to communicate. And then, as he was thinking about it closely, suddenly he seemed to understand. He seemed to understand that boatman is telling him to follow him, which way to go, giving him a direction, and then he disappeared. After that, as Tagore was thinking of this, ideas began to be very clear in his mind. As he saw this, as he had this experience, out of this experience, he had a definite idea now of his line of self-development in life, which way he has to develop. And he had also a glimpse of this fact that he had a message to give. He had a message to give, he is destined for that, and in order to spread that message in future, he has got to go from country to country, in a boat as it were. So he wrote a beautiful poem in Bengali about this fact, about this experience and about this boat, that how he is destined to go around, to different countries like a boat, to deliver a certain message. But the point here to be noted is that the experience came in the form of an ocean. So what do you make of it? Ocean is the symbol. When you see an experience, something like that, it is the symbol of your contact with your unconscious mind. That's the psychological meaning of it. Your contact with the unconscious mind, which contact may take place on different levels. But nonetheless, it is a contact with the deeper level of your unconscious, of your personality. Dr. C.T. Jung says in some of his writings that persons who, say, for some time were mentally disturbed or were groping, did not know what their life meant. And then when, as a result of, psychological treatment or the guidance given by some, as more and more, they were improving in their dreams or in their fancy or in their imagination, they often would experience ocean or see the image of the ocean or maybe lake. And very often people like that who have been improving now, who have been undergoing a kind of regeneration, they would see the dream, for example, they are diving into the ocean. As they are diving into the ocean, it may also be diving into a lake. But as they are doing so, they are encountering dangers, of course, because in the ocean, as you dive into it, there are dangers. There are sharks and there are, frightful aquatic creatures. There are dangers. There is fear, cause to be afraid. But at the same time, as you do so, more and more you may also get some treasures. And so eventually you may come up to the surface of the ocean again with some great hidden treasures. Treasures that were hidden at the bottom of the ocean. That is to say, treasures which are hidden at the depth of your own consciousness, at the depth of your own unconscious mind. So he says, there are many psychologists who testify to this, that people who are improving, who are going through a kind of rejuvenation, they see dreams like that. So this is significant. This shows that certain things in their unconscious are getting cleared up, and that a new process of integration, harmonization is taking place. That they are more and more getting in harmony with, or in communication with, the deeper levels of their personality. Now I have said that not only our life, individual life, but the whole world process, which means therefore the process of cosmic evolution, is a movement from the lower ocean to the upper ocean. It flows between these two oceans. Sri Aurobindo has discussed this point, and analyzing this whole thing as he finds it in the Upanishads, in the Vedas, and at other places, he says that this whole process of evolution which we see is controlled by two forces, cooperation of two forces. And the same also would be true in our life, in the case of our evolution. Our process of evolution also is controlled by two forces. What are these two forces? One is a creative urge which is within us, right inside our own being. Simply the creative urge which is there in nature, in life, everywhere in the world. That is an unconscious, inherent creative urge that is driving everything up, as it were. So everybody is moving. That is why you find everybody is on the go. Everybody is moving. And what is the nature of that movement? It is not just aimless movement. Every living creature, every human being, you see, is moving in such a way that it wants to expand. It wants to go beyond itself. Nobody is satisfied with his status quo. You see, nobody is satisfied with him as he is at that moment. He is seeking to reach beyond himself, go beyond himself, expand. So there is a creative art. That is one force. This force we derive from the lower ocean. You see, we live, move, we are rooted in the matrix, in the lower ocean, the unconscious. So the power of the ocean is operating within us, in the heart of each one of us. And that is the meaning of the creative urge, the evolutionary force which is present in every one of us. Not only in every one of us human beings, but in every living creature, in all nature. There is this evolutionary force, the driving power. And so everybody is moving, going somewhere, straining forward, reaching out. But that is one side of the picture. In evolution, in life development, there is another force which is operating. And that comes from the upper ocean. What is that? That is the impact of the higher level upon us. Just as in our development, we feel within us, in our heart, a creative urge. Similarly, we also seem to feel a kind of impact from above. This is what we call inspiration. An impact from above, from the higher consciousness. Sri Aurobindo says in nature also, evolution is taking place not only because there is a force working within, but also because there is an impact exerted upon this world of ours from the higher planes of consciousness, from the higher consciousness of the infinity. An impact is being exerted. Some of us feel this impact more vividly. Some of us may not feel that impact so much, but nonetheless, this impact is always there. The more we become receptive, the more we become sensitive spiritually, open-minded the more you feel that impact and feel like doing something about it also. So this is a very important point here. This would explain a great mystery about the process of evolution, the forces, the driving forces which are working there. Let me repeat that again. The whole process of evolution in nature, and similarly also the process of evolution in our individual life, is controlled by the cooperation of two forces. One is the creative urge within, and that is due to the fact that we are rooted in the unconscious. And another force is the impact which is exerted upon our life from above. Let me draw a conclusion from this. It's a conclusion from our practical standpoint. On account of this fact, meditation, practice of meditation or spiritual practice has two aspects. One is affirmation, another is surrender. These are the two important aspects of meditation, spiritual practice. One is affirmation, that is to say, in and through meditation, we try more and more to clarify our mind regarding the idea and affirm that idea. What is it that we want? What is our highest goal? We want to, make clear in our mind that what is the highest goal of our life? In which way we shall be most fulfilled? We shall find ourselves, consider ourselves to be most happy. So this is an attempt to make clear in our mind, clear and definite in our mind, what is the highest goal, ideal of life. Affirmation of the highest ideal of life. And that's very important, The more you have a clear conception of what you want, what is your highest goal, the more you can organize your life accordingly. Because you have a sense of direction now. Life becomes meaningful for you. Otherwise, in the absence of an idea of life, we just become helpless victims of chance circumstances of life. Now going this way, now going that way, without knowing which way we want to go. So that's the first thing. Meditation is necessary here in doing so, because the more we meditate, we, as it were, feel the pulse of our own psychic existence. We more and more feel, as it were, our own creative urge. Accordingly, we set the idea. So that's one aspect of meditation. Another aspect of meditation is surrender. Surrender to God, self-offering to God. Because the more we adopt this attitude of self-offering to the divine, the more we open ourselves and more we perceive the impact of the higher consciousness, the impact of the realm of beatitude, of joy and knowledge and beauty, upon our life, and open ourselves to the influence, to the light radiating from the higher realm. That is the value of surrender, self-offering, exposing ourselves to the light and power of the divine. Then there is another point connected with this matter. I think next thing you would want to know is what is the relation between the two. We have talked about these two oceans. We have tried to understand the significance of these two oceans, which are of course symbols. Now the final question would be, what is the specific relationship between these two oceans? The collective unconscious, the inconscient on the one hand, the lower ocean, and the superconscient, the realm of infinite light and joy and love on the other, the upper ocean. What's the relation? Are they separate? If not, in what way they are connected? So you can see this is a very final and very significant religious philosophical issue here. In order to understand certain things, we have taken the help of the image of the two oceans. But now comes the problem regarding what is the relationship between the two. Well, relationship between the two, first of all, is that there is a very close connection between the two. They are not separate. One is the form of manifestation of the other. The more you yourself study the Vedas, you will understand this, and you will also understand this if you study Sri Aurobindo's books, because he has brought that out very much. He says, he puts it in this way, let me briefly tell you. He says that the space-time continuum that we see, that we think to be the very beginning of all creation, where from does the space-time continuum come? And according to Sri Aurobindo, the space-time continuum, the lower ocean also, is a particular form of manifestation. A form of manifestation at the material level of the upper ocean, of the Supreme Spirit, of the Supreme Godhead. And therefore it is not something separate. It is not something different. See my point? So let me repeat that again. We of course have to use this idea of two oceans, but now we are trying to connect these two. And following the philosophy of Sri Aurobindo, we are going to understand now this, that the lower ocean, in other words, the space-time continuum, is a form of manifestation of the Absolute Spirit, or God. It is not something outside of or totally different from the life of the Supreme Spirit. It is, in other words, the medium of manifestation of the Supreme Spirit that we call God. Now, when you understand this fact, we shall understand another important fact about evolution, and that is involution as an essential condition of evolution. Involution as an essential condition of evolution. Now, we first of all saw that there is evolution in the world. Every one of us is evolved. That is to say, growing, developing. The whole nature is evolved. The whole world process is evolving. That is to say, originating from the space-time continuum, it is straining forward towards the manifestation of higher and higher qualities, of higher forms of existence, of higher patterns of creation, of higher values of life. So, evolving, that is the process of evolution. Now, from the study of the symbol of the two oceans, another important truth that we learn is that this process of evolution presupposes involution, meaning thereby that you see the lower ocean with which we started, namely say space-time continuum or the collective unconscious, in that is involved the Supreme Spirit with all its glory, even though at the beginning we know that not. That is another important point. That is the great spiritual truth there. Let me put it in this way. A scientist or a psychologist is familiar with the meaning of the lower ocean. He does not care much or does not know much about the upper ocean. But he knows about the meaning of the lower ocean, and that is the space-time continuum. A man of religious knowledge or a mystic very often has a contact with the upper ocean. So he has some insight of, some glimpse of the upper ocean of light and love and joy. But very often we find that he does not pay much attention to or does not know much about the lower ocean. So a scientist talks about evolution. A man of religion or mystic experience talks about, mergers in the upper ocean. Now what I am trying to bring out here is this, that when we grasp the significance of both these images, we shall find that there is a process of involution, evolution going on in the world. A double movement, involution, evolution. Just as from the standpoint of us, human beings, we see that we are, advancing along the road of evolution, more and more growing toward contact with the infinite or the absolute spirit. On the other side of the picture, we find the infinite similarly is also moving. It is more and more trying to manifest itself in the life of matter, in the life of nature, in the life of finite beings. There is a movement on the part of the infinite also. That is why, some poets have experienced it in a different way. You may be familiar with that poem called Hound of Heaven. You have heard about that? Hound of Heaven. That means the heaven is also searching for something. In other words, the infinite also is moving, is descending into the realm of space and time and matter and cause. So there is this double movement. The finite is moving and straying forward toward union with the infinite. That is one movement, that is evolution. But this evolution presupposes another movement, that is involution. And that means the infinite, the upper ocean, you see, is moving toward manifestation in the lower sphere. Infinite is seeking to manifest itself in and through the finite. So when you understand this double movement of involution and evolution, of descent and ascent, you will realize that the upper ocean and the lower ocean are not separate. They are two forms of manifestation of the same reality. By whatever name you understand that reality. The lower ocean, therefore, is the involved form, or the infinite in a state of involution. That is the lower ocean. And the upper ocean is the goal of the process of evolution. So our whole life, whole world process is this double movement of involution and evolution, of descent and ascent, which is perpetually going on in the whole cosmic system. So that is the great significance of the two oceans. The two oceans representing or symbolizing the lower limit and the upper limit, the beginning and the end of the whole process, of the whole mystery of creation.